Demetrious Johnson shares thoughts on Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. One of the most anticipated matchups of the year will most likely take place outside of the United States because of certain problems Chimaev has been facing for a while. Du Plessis welcomes the fight, and he even commented on possibly fighting in Saudi or somewhere else in the Middle East, saying that the idea of defeating Khamzat on his own territory, where the Chechen is going to have overwhelming advantage in support from the crowd, is an attractive idea. It's only a question of when, at this time. Mighty Mouse breaks down the fight from a technical perspective.
I'm excited that we're finally going to get Khamzat versus DDP, and I agree with you. They go to Saudi Arabia, they can do it over there in the Middle East, bring up a lot. I mean, it's going to be a great card, and you know, Khamzat's very popular over there, and it's going to be a sick fight because we know what Khamzat's going to do. You know he's going to go out there, he's going to look to fucking wrestle, right? Yeah. He does a good job of, you know, I don't want to say posing on the feet, but when he fought Kamaru Usman, when he fought Robert Whittaker, everybody he's fought besides Gilbert Burns, him went toe-to-toe on the feet, but I think Khamzat loves the grappling, and we're going to see if DDP can use, you know, his clumsy style and out-wrestle Khamzat. Because I think if it does stay on the feet, I think DDP can outstrike him, because Khamzat does have a rhythm to him, and he's not very, you know, bop, 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 bop. Like, he doesn't really throw a lot of combinations, but I think that's the fight to make, and they're going to make that fight happen.
Dan Hooker talks about general attitude and tendency of fans in MMA as it relates to rooting for specific fighters, shares that he strongly believes the most important and really the only factor that decides how people treat or comment on fighters is the degree of success in competition in their recent outings. So any talk of loyalty from fans is meaningless. The Hangman has been through some difficult times in his UFC career, but now he's riding hot on an impressive winning streak. So he's experienced contrasting reception and attitude from fans. Here's what he said on this specific aspect of MMA during his latest podcast appearance.
That's why everyone targets me, is because I do chirp back. I do chirp back, and they try to get under. They try their best to get under their skin. But I've been doing it so long and so experienced and seen absolutely everything. It's like when you're saying like, oh, at the moment you've never been more famous and this and that. Yeah, it's because I'm have won my last couple of fights. That's why everyone's being nice to me. If I had lost those fights, then no one would be nice to me. And I've been in this position multiple times in my career. So I know who the people that truly have my back and who are the ones that haven't. Because I started my pro career like 3 wins, 3 losses, and then earned my way to the UFC. My UFC record when I first got in was 3 wins, 3 losses. So everyone does like turn on you.
John Anik and Kenny Florian discuss Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev, react to Magomed being the betting favorite, and share their thoughts on how the fight will play out. The Dagestani contender is undoubtedly Pereira's toughest challenge so far in his career. Very soon, we'll find out what Pereira looks like against a fighter with significant wrestling advantage over him. And even though Ankalaev almost never relies on his grappling skills in there, the Brazilian's deadly striking game will likely force him to use that discipline in his arsenal. What he has said about the matchup with the champion is that he won't even be looking to use his wrestling to get a win. And while that's highly unlikely, the threat alone can disrupt any elite striker's flow and rhythm.
Who wins the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship fight? That is coming up quickly here, March 8th, UFC 313. You know, February all of a sudden spins here in 11 days, and March 8th is going to be upon us. Alex Pereira slightly favored right now, minus 120. The challenger Magomed Ankalaev is plus 100. 81% of people who responded like Alex Pereira, 19% Magomed Ankalaev. I fully expect the Alex Pereira number to close closer to minus 130, minus 140. Your early thoughts, you don't have to go long.
It makes me a little nervous that people are so one-sided with their decision, because Ankalaev, while it may not be the most exciting thing, he could definitely win that fight with his takedowns, with his calculated moves, and how he tries to win rounds. But right now I'm leaning towards, of course, Poatan.
Islam Makhachev sends a message to Ilia Topuria following the Georgian's comments in his direction and constant challenges for a fight. Islam thinks that the featherweight champion has been using his name to gain more popularity, and that if he is serious about going up to lightweight, he needs to fight Dustin Poirier first before getting considered to fight for the title with him. With Dana teasing reporters and fans about an announcement he's supposedly going to make as it relates to both Makhachev and Topuria, some people have high hopes that these two are going to get matched up, though it is unlikely to be the next move. But Topuria moving up to lightweight is a very real possibility. So, could the company put him against a high-profile lightweight contender first? Also certainly possible. In fact, that's exactly what Islam wants to see. In a recent interview with a Russian channel, Ushataika, when asked about his next fight and who the next opponent will be, the lightweight champion said that they're still working on it and nothing is certain for now. And when asked what he thinks about Ilia Topuria's comments on him and a potential fight between them, here's how he responded.
Если руководство захочет поставить его следующим, почему бы и нет? Он пытается на моем имени заработать себе имя, но я думаю, пора уже ему своими боями доказывать и самому себя раскачивать. Может, Пориер, думаю, тоже большое имя в UFC, думаю, может, он будет интересен. Ну, не знаю, как.
Ariel Helwani talks about his relationship with Dana White and gives some details on how it came to an end. The conflict between them started a long time ago, resulting in Helwani being blacklisted by the UFC, and his ties to the company through his friendship with the boss came to an end. What exactly happened sounds completely different, depending on who is telling the story. In the recent years, Dana hasn't talked about Helwani without using expletives, while Ariel mostly chooses to be much more reserved, though he doesn't have much nice to say about him either. In a recent interview, he shared some details on his relationship with Dana White and what went wrong.
So I went on a rampage from March to June of that year. I tried to break every single story under the sun. Like I was a man possessed, and I did a pretty good job of it. And in that process, I was doing such a good job that the UFC was convinced that I had a mole in the company that was feeding me information. Swear to God, I had no mole. I just had contacts. I had managers, I had fighters, I had coaches that were very kind to me and understood that I was just trying to do journalism. That's it. I wasn't malicious. I wasn't trying to unearth dirty secrets about them. I was just doing sports journalism. That's it. And, you know, it all came to a head when I reported that Brock Lesnar was coming back. They were very unhappy about this. They thought that I ruined a surprise, that I got the information from some weird way. It was not that. It was a couple of people told me. I looked into it. And I did sports journalism, no different than Woj or Schefter or Shams or anyone like that. And so that's when they banned me in 2016, UFC 199. But here's the problem. There's been a massive piece of revisionist history that has occurred. A lot of these new fans think that I've been banned since UFC 199. Like they hit me with this thinking that it's the case.